Good morning, seller session. This is Isabella Hamilton with Ring Bell, and I have a very, very special guest with me today, Paulina Mason. How are you?
Hi, Bella. Good. How are you?
It's so good to have you. I think I've known of you for a few years, and then we met in China. I've heard so many great things about you throughout the past, let's say, 3 to 4 years of my career, and it's just such an honor and such a pleasure to have you on. You are an inspiration not only to me but to a lot of female entrepreneurs there. So, for those who don't know Paulina Mason, would you give us a very brief introduction, please?
So, I'm talking to Amazon sellers. So, I'll let you know that I was an Amazon seller for 4 years. So, just recently decided to leave the Amazon space. I actually enjoyed it so much, but I also was running a software company for Amazon sellers, which I sold. And the contract of the sale says that I can't really compete in the space. So, anything that I would create new in Amazon space would kind of be, up for discussion whether it breaks or not breaches anything. So I just decided to take a completely different space, and right now I'm building a software for YouTubers, in fact.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So you had shopkeeper. For those who don't know what, I'm sure everybody knows Paulina Mason, but for those that know you, Paulina had an amazing, amazing software called Shopkeeper, and I personally know a lot of sellers that have used it, and it's been incredible. I saw it myself. I told you, Paulina, I thought it was like so cute and very friendly to use, and so you sold that. What made you sell the business? Were you just like, I'm done, I'm ready for something new? Like, what was the impulse?
Was actually my intention. Like many Amazon sellers also build their businesses with intention to sell. That's what I did with Shopkeeper. So my plan was to sell in 3 years for 7 figures. It took like extra 6, 7 months because of the what happened in the world. So we had a few hiccups on the way, but actually it all went according to plan. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah. So I just was planning to do it, and therefore I did it.
That's amazing. And you're a software developer and you are an international speaker. You're a mom. You're just an amazing human all around. Like how how are you able to balance everything? I'm very curious.
But same for you, same for you. Yeah, I it's a struggle, to find the balance, especially with the entrepreneurial ADD that I have, and many of us have. It's tough to find that balance that doesn't disappoint the family and doesn't take away from your work, and also leaves you like, fresh minded every morning to do work. So I went through all kinds of struggles in my journey. I would work really hard and then burn out and then be kind of out for a few weeks and just watch Netflix and not want to do anything else. So I was going through these ups and downs, until I eventually discovered what works for me best. So we could cover that a little bit today, but I've eventually discovered a system that works for me the best with my my character. And the key to all that was just to learning about yourself, like to understand what type of person you are. And as soon as you know who you are, you don't put false expectations on yourself, and like goals that you can't achieve, or some daily routine that you can't actually fulfill, so you are not disappointed with yourself eventually, and just get the best out of life. So it's yeah, I got to some place that I'm very happy with my current setup.
Right, but I think it's just so hard for most people. It's very hard finding out really who they are and what do they like. Do you have some tips on how one can discover what that is? Because that's the hard
Mostly.
part.
So there's two types of people. There's the entrepreneurial kind who are kind of jumpy and a little bit shiny object syndrome kind of people. So that's me, and many of our friends are.
Mhm.
And the other kind of people, and so yeah, entrepreneurial kind are not scared to be in a gray space. I mean, in undefined space. So when Uber came, there was no loss for Uber, and then when Airbnb came, there was no loss for Airbnb. Any entrepreneur is very comfortable to be in this undefined space. You kind of come in, you see what's not there, and you make it.
Mm,
But there's this other group of people who are very safe with their job safety. They just like the routine. They like to know that they have the income, and they are very, very uncomfortable in that undefined space. If you
mm,
give them something, just figure it out, they're like, oh my God, how I'm gonna do this. And while entrepreneurs really thrive in that, so being like this entrepreneurial kind, I discovered so many things about myself that eventually led to me finding the things that I like.
mm,
So it depends on what kind of person you are. If you're an entrepreneur, the way it works is just you try many things in life until you get somewhere, and then you feel, oh, that's my thing. But just you're not gonna stick with it very long anyway because you're entrepreneur. So in 3 or 4 years, you'll be moving on. Just accept who you are and just
mm,
keep creating the finding things. Now, for those who are very stable people, it's best to just follow probably something that they already learned either at school, at university, or it comes from their background, the parents, or something like that, something that they are comfortable to build the knowledge on the same knowledge. So if they studied software engineering, it's best to stick in the same area and
mm.
just build on that. So I would just, yeah, it depends what kind of person you are. But if you're Paulina, one of me, if
Right.
you're
But
one of us, I know one of us. Yeah.
I
So
love the fact that you are a software developer, but also an entrepreneur, which is such a interesting mix. You're almost a unicorn because you have this like really technical side, and then you have this like, you know what, I'm going to start creating businesses over and over again, and yet you're able to incorporate your magic, which is, around software developing. And I know when you created Shopkeeper, from what I remember, you did it because it was something that was missing in your business. It was something that you wanted to create for yourself, and then everybody wanted it because it was so good, right? Like that is, to
that's
me, that's
exactly what happened. Yeah.
to me that's
It's just
amazing.
I don't know. I was a developer, but that was sort of just the tech aptitude in me. I really was interested in technology, but I was not a software developer that would like, okay, I got EA Games internship. That was like the amazing thing. And then I sit in the cubicle and feel like a prisoner. I was not enjoying it. And then I worked at IBM, also like the best thing ever.
Mhm.
You got this high offer after university, and it's like, it's not for me. I just don't want to be told what exactly algorithm and what design
Mhm.
pattern to use. And I want to invent, I want to create things. So it wasn't just working for me, but that background definitely helps building new
Mhm.
software. Like when I was Amazon seller, I immediately thought, I really would like to have like this something that pulls from all these different marketplaces, converts the currency, and shows me one number in US dollars. How much did I make today? And also sounds like a ching when there's a new sale. And I built this little thing for myself first. And eventually hired a team when people like my family and friends started asking for access to the app. So I thought, okay, time to make a commercial version of that. And
Yes.
then that's what we did.
I love that you had the ching. Next thing you know, Paulina, all you could hear like ching, 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 ching from all the money that you were making on Amazon, right? Like, okay, this is good. I like this. We definitely need those, I guess, sensorial things too, like it gives you more motivation. Like, oh, I just made a sale and another one and another one. I think that's so wonderful that you were able to put all of these things together. It's like you added like your feminine touch. A little bit to it, which makes it so perfect and so simple and so cute too. I remember looking at it, I
Yeah.
was like, so smart. I could use that because for me, I'm not technical. I know nothing of the developing. So from the outside looking into something like a platform like that, I want the simple features. I want to see exactly how much I made. I want to see exactly what my fees are. I want to hear that cha-ching every time I make money. So it's like you incorporated every single thing somebody needs, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, it
So
was just exactly for non-technical users. Like you would see this super simple view, not some big spreadsheets where you have to figure out all these like the competitors the way we were doing. So I just wanted like a simple number, and then if you want more data, you click on that number, you get more. Then you click on that number, you click more. It's just like you keep clicking. It's just very intuitive. Yeah, and kaching sound, some people would have it in the office on the TV. And then
Oh my,
some sellers were saying every time kaching sounds, their kids are dancing. So it was
that,
really
that's my
fun for
that's
everybody.
my college money. All the kids, yay, college money. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. How were you able to let go? I think this is something, all entrepreneurs, we want to create businesses and we want this, but then when you create something so beautiful and so perfect, it's like, how do you let your heart let go of that? Was that something hard for you to do? Even now, like talking about it, like it's no longer yours.
I
It's
know, I'm
gone.
still excited about it. Like when you build
That's
something,
good.
you're so proud. I don't know. It's like you take something from scratch, and every entrepreneur knows, you develop a product from like a paper drawing into this actual product which getting shipped. And then you get these pictures from your Chinese manufacturer, how they are like branding your logo on each item. It's like such a nice feeling. So definitely I have the attachment still there to the app that I built. But now I'm building a new one, and it's kind of my focus shifted to the new
Yeah.
one completely. But I'm building on so many things that on the previous knowledge from before. Like we'll have a kaching sound for YouTubers when they make affiliate sale. There's some
Perfect.
things,
So there were
same
some
things I'm gonna
things you
like
were able
use.
to keep. You're able to keep and transfer to the next platform. And that platform is Creator Books. How did you come up with that? And tell us what that is exactly.
So I'm myself a YouTuber, and so after I stopped being Amazon seller, we became YouTubers with my husband. So doing live streams around the city. My son is a YouTuber, and like my husband has another YouTube channel. We're just like family of YouTubers, and I thought I want to serve that market. And what can I build? I know how to build bookkeeping software for Amazon sellers. Let
Mm-hmm.
me build bookkeeping software for YouTubers. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it's just building on the same concepts that I already know, even though it's completely different underneath. Because it's not Amazon API we will be using. We'll be actually pulling from different affiliate networks. So if you're a YouTuber by any chance, you basically make a lot of money on little bit of YouTube AdSense, little bit of Amazon affiliates AdSense, and some other affiliate networks like maybe Helium 10 you're promoting, or maybe Celix, or maybe these other apps, and you're making affiliate commissions on them. So basically, our app will pull all that data automatically and show you today you made $500 and ka-ching, you made a new sale with Helium 10, that kind of thing.
That's
So yeah.
amazing. I love that. And how are you marketing it?
So right now we are not launched yet. So it's
Mhm.
it's completely new project that I took up after I sold Shopkeeper. So we're still in the development phase. I am talking about it everywhere just to prepare the audience
Nice.
for how that is coming. But in reality, my marketing ways will be SEO articles. So
Mhm.
number one SEO, and number two affiliates. Last time we had very nice friends, our affiliates who were YouTubers, promoting Shopkeeper on their YouTube channels, and I think I'll set up the same kind of relationships this time with the YouTubers to promote our app.
I love that. I think that is so great, like especially word of mouth. People want to use platforms and to create businesses with people that we trust and we love. And you have such an experience in not only Amazon field, but I feel like in many different areas. So I think that's a wonderful thing, and everybody should be an affiliate for Creative Books. I think it's going to be wonderful. I haven't even
Yeah.
seen it, but I have been following your journey by you finding like a developing team. And I think, how's that going, by the way? I know you're still in the process. How close are you to like creating the perfect team for this?
Oh, it's challenging. Before I was just lucky chance by a referral I got my developers, and this time it's I have to find one from scratch, like to build
Mhm.
a minimum viable product. And this time I know what I want, and I am like, I guess, higher standards this time, and it's a
Mhm.
longer process. So just still working through that, but I'm not so scared of the process anymore. Like in the beginning, it was like, oh my god, it's a challenge to find the CTO who you can trust, who knows what he's doing. He's gonna build a good foundation, and all of this, like no technical debt. These are issues that you have to think of early in advance. But now I'm past that stage, so I'm just like waiting for the right candidate to pass through all the 6 stages that I have put out for them, and yeah, hopefully we'll get there soon.
Oh, that's wonderful. I remember seeing you in an interview, and I think the question was like, if you were to hire like somebody famous and you were like, I would definitely not hire Sam Ovens to be my boss. So I feel like in this situation, you are the Sam Ovens. So I pray for those people who are coming your way that have to like abide by every single thing. You nope, 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 nope. But I this is what makes you so great. And this is why I think Creator Books is going to be even more successful than Shopkeeper, which is it's hard to believe because Shopkeeper was pretty amazing. But I'm very excited for you. Do you feel like you work a lot more hours now? Like what does your day look like?
So wait, maybe I can share my screen. What about that?
Yeah,
I'll
do
show you
it.
share screen. Let's see. Here we are. So do you see it?
I do.
So what I'm doing these days is, so this is not a perfect thing yet, but I am working out my schedule into trying, instead of using one app for habit tracking, another app for calendar, and another app for task tracking, I decided to put all these three things together and to put them into one. So all my habits are yellow, like the things. So look, in the morning, I try to read a book, do yoga mat thing, deep work schedule. At in the evening, I want to have inbox zero, go over the meeting notes and plan the next day and make sure that I did fasting correct hours for that day. So those are my habits that I want to have. There's also Sunday next week planning, and I'm writing my social posts in advance on Sundays. So this is what it looks like in terms of habits. Now the red items that you see, those are the core dominoes. So these are usually my primary one item to do on that day. So if it's a deep work slot, that's when I would tackle that red one. Or whenever I have free time in between the meetings and other things, I go back to that one task that is recurring. So usually that task I define like a week in advance, and just like the whole week I schedule on Sunday for the next week what's going to be my one thing to work on. Right now I'm working on hiring and also doing my taxes, so there's two things actually going on. Now why I like this system is that it pulls automatically from my calendar. So you see there's this meeting right now we are on, so it basically pulls all the meetings that I have. That's great. And if I want something to add quickly, like, order iPhone and not to forget, so you just simply like click on it. This is ClickUp I'm using, right? So
Hmm.
you just click on it, type in something, don't forget, and then it just adds it here. Just like the perfect thing. And now let's say it's tomorrow. I already did this one, so I just say this one's done, and let's pretend I didn't do the yoga tomorrow, so I would say not done. So after you do that, it's like you have a very nice clean calendar, and you see what you have done and what you haven't accomplished yet. So it's nice way to track your progress as well. And yeah, so it's like even family time is here. For example, for those who have kids and families, so the way I work it out is 3 evenings a week I spend with family. So this is the exception that I did today, but usually that's the family time right here. And on the weekends, Saturday is a day when me and my husband go to do filming, like we are YouTubers doing live streams.
Hmm.
So we have someone else watch the kids on Saturday, and that's the whole day together. So we invented this project for us to spend time together, to basically have some time alone without kids, kind of like a date, and just
Hmm.
recording videos. And then Sunday is the four of us together, so the whole family together. And Sunday evening, I sit down and do my planning. So it's like how I strategize for my week. But this system is not really perfect. Sometimes I'm so exhausted after so many meetings, and I would not do these things, and I kind of move them to the next day. Sometimes I make exceptions, like right now I put some meeting in the family time, and then so it's not like exact to the point. Like if you're entrepreneur like me, you might feel overwhelmed by by having this thing of having to follow a schedule. Like I
Yes.
really dread this thing. Oh my God, I'll 5 o'clock I'll do this, 7 o'clock I'll do this. But the
Yeah.
point is here that you don't really follow a schedule, but you're training yourself to be automatically doing it. So
Mm.
like if you do the habit every morning you read a book, just every single morning, after a certain number of days, like for me it kicked in after 10 days, I think. I just like my heart, the 7 o'clock in the morning kicks in. I want to read a book. It's like even if I'm at home, it feels like
Wow.
automatic, and it's so much easier to do. And after I read a book, I go do my yoga. After that, I got sweaty, so I go shower and then go
Mhm.
eat and brush my teeth. It's like the whole thing every morning became a routine because you do it so many times every morning. And now it's not anymore like, oh, I should exercise. It's like it's automatic.
It's part of
And
the
that's
life.
what you, yeah. And it doesn't feel anymore like, oh, it's scheduled. Sometimes I want to scooter all day and not work. Then I move around my meetings and I make myself the space to just like have empty brain space if I need to. So it's not exact rule, but it's like a guideline, very, very nice to follow. That's it's
I
like
love that. I love that.
gives you more
Guidelines.
performance. Yeah.
Instead of like rules, you have to do this, then it's more like a suggestion, a very nice suggestion. Like you should follow this if you want to succeed. So, were you always this organized, or this has been something that's been more recent into your life with just life experiences? How did you come up with such a great system?
Yeah, it's much more recent. Before, I used to be much more chaotic. And like I said, I haven't discovered really who I was before. Now I know that I'm good at creating and visioning the things, but I'm not good at sitting down and actually doing line by line by line by line. I don't know, I give up. Like 15 minutes later, I can't do it anymore. It's just the way I am. I think many of us with entrepreneurial ADD are like that. So
I
we're
think
visionaries.
so.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Hello.
One of us. So yeah, I think it's good to have a good team around you. Hire only type A's, who are those people who are non-entrepreneurial, but they love the safety of their job and they're so reliable on fulfilling those things that you invent. So that's what I did for many years. I've been 11 years an entrepreneur, and I always had a team around me of people who kind of fulfill all of my inventions and crazy dreams and all the business plans. So task by task by task, and that's how all my businesses are built, actually. So when you look at my calendar, most of it is half of it is networking and masterminding. So
Mhm.
I have 4 regular masterminds that I attend. So then I hear something in this mastermind, hear something in that one, and I read in a book something, and things connect later. And it's,
Mhm.
oh, so everyone's using ClickUp. Okay, that's the one I'm gonna use. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
like research for hours to what.
Yeah.
So it's nice to build your personal network, and at the same time do some deep work. And my deep work is usually something that I cannot outsource to others. So something that only I can do, like because of the built up knowledge that I have, or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, so these are the tasks that I keep to myself, but the rest I try to delegate or eliminate. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's very good. So I saw you have, I think it was like 3 days or 4 days that you do deep work. I think it was three
yes,
days, right? And
3 days.
it was like 9 to 12. So that seems, even though it seems short, it's only 3 hours. I know concentrated work for 3 hours, it's crazy. So do you have a method when you do your deep work that you're completely disconnected from the outside world and you're literally focusing in? And how long does that take? Do you take little breaks? I know there's a lot of people that use I think it's what is the Pomodoro method? Like you work for 30 minutes and then you take a little break. Is that something that you do?
So no, I follow Sam Ovens. So you mentioned him before, so I'm a
Yes.
big fan. For
Yes.
those who don't know who he is, just look on YouTube for monk-like discipline, and that's
Mhm.
the greatest video that I keep rewatching. How to focus on things that you do. 1.5 hour video. So in the deep work, first of course you turn off all your phones, like the phone and all the apps that are gonna ping, so
Yeah.
email, Slack, and Discord, and then I have Troop Messenger, like so all of those I just turn them off at that time, and I leave the only communication channel open, which is Viber on my Mac,
Mhm.
because my husband could message about the kids, something happens. So I
Got
leave
it.
only for him the communication channel for that. And the
Mhm.
rest is out. But the key when you're doing deep work, it's so easy to get this, oh, I want to get a drink, especially before, like if you're
Mhm.
doing reconciling month by month. You did 1 month, oh, next month before that, I'll get a drink. So
Mhm.
Sam Moments is teaching, and that's what I've been practicing. As soon as this thought comes, I need a drink, he's like, no, no, just endure, enjoy, make the impossible happen. You can do it. And just like force yourself to go away. Same like when you do meditation, the thought comes and you push it away, like intentionally. So
Mhm.
that's the same thing. Oh, I should check, the phone. Maybe something happened. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you are here, just feel the pain, enjoy that pain, and just continue. And like one
Yeah.
minute later, you forget about it,
Right.
and it's just like, so you keep going. But I can't survive the whole 3 hour stretch. 1.5 hour later, I usually take a break to like drink or go to the
Yeah.
washroom or something. And then 5 minutes later, I come back and then continue. But it's interesting that to continue after these 5 minutes is so much easier than to begin in the 9 in the morning, because
Mm,
somehow there is this flow. I don't know, the magic flow. Like
mm,
when you work so hard and you feel this sense of achievement, it's
mm,
so much easier to later start. You just go quickly to the washroom, drink a drink, and then you come back and it just flows.
mm.
I just love that state. And it takes for me about an hour to get into that. I use this app called Brain FM. It's not an app, it's like a web app. It just plays
Yeah.
music, focused music. So there's like no singing. It's just something that does something to your brain, like dun, 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 whatever.
That it
There's
makes
like
it keep working.
you can choose like cinematic or slow or whatever you like. I like this electronic music beats. It just
I,
goes like
I love that you have your own background to your movie. There you are working, and it's like you feel like you're in an
yeah,
action movie. Like, let's go.
exactly. And you just like when something comes, oh, I should get a drink. You just increase the volume by one level. No, stick with it. It's
You're like,
it's a very
oh
nice
God.
feeling. So yeah,
Oh my
that's how I
God,
do.
you're incredible. I love that you explained that, because for me, looking at your calendar, I'm like, holy cow, I can't be tied down. I need freedom. But yet, freedom is in organization, in making sure that you take care of priorities. Because I, as an entrepreneur, and like you mentioned many times, we have that almost ADD like. I don't like diagnosing anything, but we have that because we always want something else. And like you said, like, oh, I'm sending in this email, but let me check this and this. Maybe the other person answered. And then next thing you know, you're wasting like 2, 3 hours thinking of nothing when you could really be focusing. And this is definitely an issue I have. So, did you make this transition? Did you read the book Deep Work? Is this where this idea of deep work came, or how did you even come up with the term?
Yeah, I took a mastermind, which was a workshop with David Hensel. If you look him up, he's running Managing Happiness Mastermind. Anyway, it's a 10-week workshop where they teach you to track your habits, like to put them into your life.
Mm,
That's where I learned the system. And then he's the one who recommended many different books to read, like The Power of Habit and and so on. So I really follow mostly David Hensel's strategies and Sam Owen's focus techniques.
mm,
So usually when as an entrepreneur, you probably learn a lot. So you either listen to podcasts, you have some people that you follow, you like them. So if you just do what the other successful people who you like are doing, but like actually do,
yeah.
then you're gonna be successful. But the thing is, it's so easy. We all know that eat the frog, eat the frog, like do the
Hmm.
worst
Yeah.
task first.
Right. Right.
We all
Yeah.
know they eat the frog, but it's like so hard to actually do it. We all know you have to do it, but it's like you sit down, I'll do just small ones first and then the hard one. So it's
Mm,
like now that I have this calendar always on my view and nothing else, no hundreds of tasks. I used to have 400 tasks.
mm,
Now the way David taught us is to eliminate tasks. So basically, you come to your task list on Sunday and you plan what you're going to pick for next week. The ones you see you can delegate, eliminate, you just keep deleting the tasks, not adding them. So yeah, it's super fun to have your own system, but I think the way to figure it out is for yourself.
mm,
Like, if your system is through the email inbox, then find some app, something like Missive is a great app where you can delegate, you can assign emails to other team members, and then you can like star and clean up and treat it as a to-do list. So for everyone is its own system, but I really like ClickUp. The way it works for me is like super awesome. I love following the calendar, and I just feel like free from other hundreds
mm.
of tasks. I just know what's in front of me. That's the only thing I need to work on, and kind of clears the headspace for that.
That's amazing. I love that you make time to read every single day. Is this something that you've always done? Just reading?
Mm, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos, and I thought that that's enough and that satisfied my learning thing. And I just recently started reading the actual physical books, like not the audiobooks. Most of my friends listen to audiobooks,
Mhm.
but it's such a different experience to like the way I read is like I make these actual notes like in the
Mhm.
pages. I like draw on them and mark
Right.
the corners and
Uh-huh.
write in the book. And it's just like the full book of that kind of thing, you know. I just like
That's
really
beautiful.
love doing this. And it's the whole different experience of reading somebody's concentrated work because the book probably
Mm.
was written in 3 years. The guy spent like 3 years researching it, you know, and then he put all his knowledge in it, and I'll read it maybe in 5 hours in total, right? So it's
Yeah.
like I get so much knowledge, so much more than through the
Mm.
blog, than through podcast, than through anything else.
Mm.
It's concentrated, and I started enjoying it so much. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I mark all of his notes, and then after I'm done with the book, I kind of transfer them into my system. Whatever I liked, I move it. Like some to-do item, maybe I have something to follow up on, so I move it over, make a few pictures for my social media what I'm studying, and
Mhm.
so just this is recent thing with the books, and I'm so enjoying it. I don't know, just the having my tea in the morning and sitting down in the sunny corner in the room,
Mm.
like I have this nice reading chair, and you just like
Mm.
sit alone, no kids, nothing, and you just read your book. Amazing. I just like such a nice feeling. So
That is
yeah.
beautiful that you have a way to start your mornings already peaceful and in with that mind capacity. Because when we wake up, it's like we're the most fresh of the day. We're able to receive all this information, and you're not like browsing, social media and getting all this unnecessary information and actually reading a book. I think that's very beautiful. It's like, oh, it's almost the opposite of like eating the frog. Like you're doing something that you actually enjoy, which transfers into this maybe amazing energy, or you have an idea that you read in the book. One thing you said, which I love, and it just shows how organized you are. When you're done reading a book, you make all these notes, because that was my follow up question. I was like, oh, you make all these notes. Do you ever go back? So I love that you said you take all of that and you put it into someplace else, which also reinforces the ideas that you already read. Because sometimes, like, we read and then it's like, oh my God, that's so great, but we totally forget about it. So, do you feel like that's helping, like, when you transfer that information into like your notes or something to retain that information?
Definitely. When I listen to audiobook, it's like you can't make notes and it's more like a
Yeah,
radio. It goes in here
right.
and tomorrow
It
you
just
already
kind of,
forgot it. You kind
yes.
of remember general concept, but there's nothing practical that you take away. Maybe there is, but you don't actually go and take action. Now here I read it, I made notes, and like the next day or like 5 days after, I'll go through, and at the end there's like always, make some notes here.
Mhm.
I just these are like, for example, I'll tell you what these are. So kaching sound works amazing, yeah. And why
Uh-huh.
it was working amazing, I found out from this book because people are getting hooked on kaching
Mm.
sound. They just get addicted to the app. Kaching
Yes.
sound follows the routine, go check the stats, and stats
Okay.
checking is addictive, and I get dopamine rush. So like
Mm.
kaching has to be in my next app. That's what I'm writing. Okay, CreatorBooks, kaching sound must be there because it worked on
Mhm.
Shopkeeper, and that's why. So it's like all these ideas that come to me are not exactly what the book said, but more like what the book inspired me to think of or to do. And that's why I need to transfer them over because these are like something that I want to take action on, inspired by the book. And I feel like eventually, when my life changes, when the business changes, it would be great to reread the same book and to
Mm.
come up with the same. We have a selective listening or selective reading, when we are learning something.
Yeah.
It depends on what problems you're solving in your current context. That's what answers you find in the book. And the same with anything else, like Sam Owen's video.
Mhm.
I keep rewatching it because, like, now I'm into exercising, and before I wasn't. So
Yeah.
everything he says about exercising is just like makes sense now. I actually hear it now. Before my mind
Yeah.
would just skip that. So it's yeah,
Right.
it's gonna be fun to reread those later too.
That's amazing. You said, people get hooked to that dopamine. It's the same thing we get when we like scroll through Facebook, and then we want to scroll again and again. It's like we need that impulse. So hearing that cha-ching, it's like the what is it, Pavlovian conditioning, where it's like the
Yeah,
Pavlov's dog. It's
exactly.
like, oh,
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
breathe. I get
Gotta
water.
go
I
take
get
it.
food.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
wonderful. And I know from reading and everything, like we know some of these concepts, but sometimes like you read a book and it really, really clicks. You're like, oh my God, this whole time I've been reading this a million times, but sometimes it just connects. And that's why it's great rereading books. How many books would you say you read a year if you were to guess?
A lot. I don't know, maybe 1 on 5 days or something like that. So I guess it's a lot of them. But plus, so it's not only the physical books that I read. I basically don't bring a phone to my reading room. I just have a timer, like a kitchen timer, and I put
How long
45
does that
minutes.
go? 45, okay.
45
Mhm.
minutes, yeah. And so it depends on the thickness of the book. You could read it in 1 week or like 5 days, depends. But it's plenty of time to read a lot of books, and I'm gonna enjoy that very much. I also still listen to podcasts and still watch YouTube videos that are educational while I'm washing the dishes or while I'm standing in line somewhere while in transit. So I still do that, but I just enjoy it so much these days that I totally recommend for you watching. Try out a physical book. It's just
Yes.
completely different experience. Yeah.
And it's also amazing. Like for me, it's like I have like two, three books coming in every week. I don't always get to read them all. And sometimes that's another almost like a fault. It's like that dopamine rush. Like, oh, I just got another book. Like somehow that information is supposed to like transfer into my head because they're sitting on my desk. So definitely I need to know. This is actually helping me a lot because I know I need to integrate some of these habits because right now I'm like, I'll read on the plane for a few hours or I'll read like on a Friday afternoon if I have some times. But it's so much better when you actually schedule it because you get to do actually even more things done. So thank you for that advice. Definitely, I'm going to do it. How do you pick your books? Do you just like do somebody recommends? Do you do like a search? How do you find what your next book is like? What book you're going to pick?
Yeah, so mostly people recommend it. Also on ClickUp, I just basically whenever somebody recommends it, I add it to my meeting notes,
Mhm.
and then later I have them on. Yeah, it's loading very slowly, so I guess it's not gonna load that fast.
No
So,
worries.
but the point is, I add them to my ClickUp as
Hmm.
just like I add the rest of the things. So let me just share it. Will work this time.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so books to read, usually somebody recommends,
Okay.
and like I have even like I add them all. So whoever recommends me something, I add them. And see there's like a long list, and then I say it's either to ordered, now reading, finished
Mhm.
reading, or decided not to read. And then
Mhm.
I'm planning to like track them like this. But you don't have to be so organized with that. In reality, it has
After
to
this
be.
video, Paulina, I think we're all feeling bad right now. Okay, if you have your books organized by decided not to read it, whatever that book. Do you also have like a top 10? Like, if one person recommends it, they go on top level. Like, okay, this person I really like, so I'm gonna read this next.
No, it's not the perfect system. I go in the purges like, okay, ADD, entrepreneurial ADD has this thing of either hyper focus or not focus at all.
Mhm.
If there's something super interesting to you, and for me right now is habit tracking and improving personal performance, like personal development is a thing that I care about. So that's why I do all the lists and that's why I like focus on it so strongly. But if it's something I don't care about, like when I was building Shopkeeper, I didn't have anything like that. My system was not this. So it's like hyper focus on whatever is mostly interesting to you, and that's like the skill that I have. So I was just into building it and optimizing, doing mock-ups. I had completely different systems of how we were achieving things. So I think it just depends on how you adapt it to your lifestyle. Always like the best way is to look at your current tools and not to try to add some new tools. Oh, Paulina said ClickUp is going to work. But maybe you're using your inbox as your to-do list forever and you are so used to it, it's a habit for you. So keep using it, but just build more better systems around it. Maybe color code or like train yourself to assign to others or delete emails or do inbox zero habit every day. So just work with the system that you already have. That's much better than doing completely something new from scratch. And that might look like over engineering, but I'm hyper focused on this right now. So for me it's just fun. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
I'll drop it after 3 years when I get bored, but like right now I'm super enjoying it.
Was it hard when you first started, like actually creating the schedule and making sure you follow it, or was it easy for you to kind of fall into it?
I didn't do all right away, just like little by little by little. So, because you can't like add 10 habits that you want to follow, you just start with one thing, I want to exercise every day. So, I
Yeah.
had exercise at 3 p.m. first, and then it didn't work out because it was the middle of a day. Like, when you get sweaty, you have to go showers, like, ruins your day. I moved it to 12 o'clock because I was attending a class. Again, 12 o'clock not worked out. Eventually, it worked for me to have as early in the morning before you even do your makeup so
Yeah.
that you can like shower after and then do the makeup. So it's like really you work your own routine by moving and testing things around. And just, in the beginning, I was not following. So 3 days I would not exercise. And then I push myself to do it. And I just like keep trying to force it until it just like automatically goes. Once you have one figured out, you add another. And then your whole life you can rearrange like that. So yeah.
What a beautiful system. Thank you for sharing that with us. We have like Cindy here said, amazing calendar planning. Love this. And Sharon, which is my co-host, she does Thursdays podcast. Love this planning. So I know it's not just me. I know everybody that's watching this, they can really
Right.
benefit. So thank you for sharing that with us. How do you, we're both moms. Do you ever feel like business takes a lot from you as a mom? Do you feel like you're not like enough of a mom? Does that make it make even sense? Because sometimes I feel that. Like I see a lot of moms that are just like moms and they do an amazing job, and sometimes I have this like guilt, or I look up to them like, wow, I wish I could do that, but at the same time, I know I can because of like who I am. Do you ever have those moments, and how do you deal with that?
Definitely, I'm not the yeah, I'm not like the example mom. Like, I think the entrepreneurial women are a little bit like, for example, I don't really wash dishes or clean the house. We have cleaners 3 times a day. So it's embarrassing to admit, but that's who I am. And if I need to spend my energy in my mind thinking about how I'm gonna clean, it kind of takes away the space from the creative. I don't know, I get exhausted from just cleaning, and then I will feel like, oh my god, so now I cannot do this. I have to relax a little bit. It's so I try to eliminate those things, like to replace, like we have cleaners coming instead. Now, in terms of family time, I think we have quality family time because they're in daycare during the day. So 5 days a week they're in daycare. 3 evenings until sleep. As soon as they come from daycare until sleep, 3 evenings a week, I take care of them. So together with the husband, but mostly me, we are watching them. 2 evenings is mother-in-law with my husband in the house. That's when I do United States calls because the time zone difference. So basically, those 2 evenings I stay longer at the office, and I come back to just put the kids to sleep. So those 2 evenings they don't see me. And then Saturday is my husband and me day, and evening is for the kids. And Sunday we like swim together or do stuff. I think it's kind of a balanced life, to be honest. Sometimes I do feel guilty if I kind of look at my phone too much and they are looking at their phone. In those moments, I feel like we should be doing something else instead. So it's not a perfect system with being a mom,
Yeah.
but I do try to, because I have it on my schedule now, I feel like obliged to do my best in that time. So there's 4 hours in the evening, and I want to just either, spend time with them like eye to eye and not sit next to each other with the phones in our hands. So I do my best effort, but it not always works out that way, to be honest. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, so exhausted. I'm just like, okay, can you guys watch something? And I'm gonna watch something, so it
Yeah.
happens. It happens, I admit. But yeah, try to do my best so far. They're
Yeah.
growing up. I think after 6 years old, mine is 4 and 7. So it's getting easier now. They play with each other more, and
Mhm.
that gives me and my husband time to chat in the evening and that time. And it's like a little bit like recovering my my life a little bit. But before that was, yeah, pretty intense.
I love that you mentioned that because I feel like this is a struggle that all women entrepreneurs that are also moms have because we want to like split the time equally between all these important aspects in our life, whether it's your spouse or your kids or religion or whatever you have. And, having that balance is so important. And it seems like you have found that perfect balance and you're improving it every single day. And it just makes sense how a system like this would work. So I'm going to take it and try to implement it myself. So thank you for sharing that with us again. Do you feel like Sam Ovens has had a lot of influence in like things that you do right now? I know I love Sam Ovens too. He's definitely an alien. He's he's very unique.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you took a lot of concepts from him that work for you? Because you're not a robot like he is. So I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out from robot to human, how do you translate?
Yeah, he's extreme, but he's kind of like a genius. And I feel
Yeah,
like all geniuses have like a more brain taken by the genius part and is less left for the
for the
socializing, the
EQ, for
practical
the
things.
emotional. Yes. Hmm.
I feel like that's the case with him. He's like a total genius to follow, but he's extreme case. Like he wouldn't even have kids to just have enough time for work. And he's overachiever and he's making the impossible. But in his case he sacrifices in to have the impossible achievement, and in my case I build my lifestyle to have a lifestyle business, to not be impossible overachiever, to have like $1 billion company. I had a 7-figure exit and the next one, so that was low 7-figure exit. Now I'm gonna have mid 7-figure exit, and it's just gonna be fine. Like I am so happy with my life. So he is building in a bigger scale, and that's necessary in his case to over optimize everything. But in my case I kind of downgrade that a little bit to my level,
Hmm.
and I have more life than he does in my schedule and the things. But yeah, but to be honest, to whoever is listening, they're thinking like, oh my god, I can never do this. Sometimes I ignore the schedule for like 3 or 4 days straight, and we just like go somewhere. I take my electric scooter, I just like scooter all day. And like, and then like we, my husband and I, we go to like stay at some hotel or something like for a few nights. Sometimes you ignore the schedule and you just like let yourself to recover,
Hmm.
recover from all this like mad life of doing achieving.
Right.
You just enjoy, and then you will be surprised after 3 days you miss it, you start
Yes.
missing it, like, oh my god,
You
where
miss
is
the
my life?
structure. Yes.
You miss the routines and the things and like what makes you happy, and it's just like that habit thing that really works,
Right.
so
Sometimes
so
you
yeah,
just need like a Netflix marathon for like a day to like kill your brain. So just like do
you
nothing.
can, yeah. Whatever works for you to just come back to that, and again your brain is gonna miss the thing that it's used to doing, so
Right. Like for me, when I go to like conferences, like right now I'm in Miami, which is why I'm in this beautiful business center here. But
all right.
I I I go to like conferences and meetups, and I'm so excited. I get to meet all these people, and sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait to get home and like get to the structures. I know I have all these emails waiting for me and all these calls. So completely understand that. It's like it's always a balance. And then when I'm working, the whole time I'm like, I cannot wait to go to a conference. I cannot wait to like meet my
Yeah.
friends and which, by the way, the world is opening up, and I think for you, you were counting down. Are you guys okay now? Is it open, or what's the status of the
Yeah, I'm
pandemic?
just like can't wait to go to like I'll be a speaker at MicroConf Europe in Croatia in October. I just like can't wait to go to the next
Yes.
conference. Yeah, oh my god, like yeah, no, I'm in Turkey right now and my husband's Turkish. So definitely the world is like opening up again, and we are no more with lockdown. We can swim again. Police doesn't come beeping and signaling on us when you swim, which we
Wow.
still were doing a little bit, to be
Right, of
honest.
course.
But
Yes, yes,
anyway,
yes. You're a rule breaker, Paulina, of course. You're like,
rule
you're telling me
breaker.
not to swim. I'm going to swim, okay?
So
I
yeah.
love, I love that. Are you coming to US this year for any conference?
You never know, but probably maybe. I'm going to Canada in December because I lived in Canada for 15 years. So there's a lot of unfinished business in there. So me and my son will go there, and maybe we'll visit some friends in the US on the way. So I'll just see about that.
I love that. I hope to see you, and I know everybody who's listening would love to see you. And I wish we would have had more time in China to talk, but I'm glad we did meet in person, and it was wonderful. And now we got to do this beautiful podcast together. I don't want to keep too much of your time, but are there any tips or tricks or anything that you want to give to our listeners, maybe in how to start a new venture, because you are moving from something that you knew so well and now you're creating this whole new thing. And I know there's maybe some fear or some excitement and all of this together. What are some tips to give to somebody that's just thinking of starting a business? Any kind of business.
Most, the most important step, I know the you that you're watching, if you're standing on this like the steep thing right now where you want to jump and take the leap, but you can't, you're thinking, overthinking, you're perfectioning, you're planning, whatever you are overthinking and planning, it's never going to be perfect anyway. Like you have to accept that it's going to be mediocre, whatever the first thing you're going to put out. Mediocre product, mediocre, whatever. And then you will excel from there. So just like jump and think later, like build the parachute on the way down,
Wow.
it's
Right.
just like the best thing you can do. Force yourself to jump, like catch that moment in the day, in the week when you're feeling the most motivated, and just do it. Like take the
Mhm.
next leap. For example, if you're an Amazon seller and you're not sure, should I start this perfect product I need to have? Actually, perfect product is not the one that you're going to invent from scratch, some new design from Shark Tank nobody's ever seen, and you're going to have to educate the people that it even needs to exist. Just the best product is that it has existing demand, many competitors, like not too many, but I mean, if you come into existing market, you can ride that demand, and it's so much easier to do than to invent some product nobody has ever seen and it's like going to be the most perfect product. Just make a copy paste product in the beginning, go with that, learn the ropes, learn Seller Central, learn how things work, learn the delivery, like find your freight forwarder, find your manufacturer. That will be already so much experience, even if you just break even, which most likely going to happen, the worst case scenario with you anyway. If it's just break even, after that you're gonna build the next one, and the next one will be awesome because you'll know all these things already. So it's like just jump, just accept that it will be like a half-baked thing, and just do it. So yeah.
I love that. That's such a great advice because I know a lot of people, look at all these successful entrepreneurs that they automatically think, well, they were born like that. They were born with having these great ideas, but people forget that everyone had to start somewhere. I mean, yes, in very few cases, somebody's born like into a billionaire family, and that's great, but that's such a small percentage. But us as humans, we tend to give outside powers. So, like, oh, that person is so successful, they're doing 100 million a year. It's because so and so, because they were smart or they were born into this, but we don't see all the years that these people put behind the work. They were willing to suck for a long time until they got good. So, for example, like speakers on stage, you see them and you're like, wow, they're just so natural. That's what people tend to think. They're so natural. What a great speaker. Like, look at Tony Robbins. He's amazing. But what about all those years when nobody showed up at his seminar? When he had like three people? And of course,
Yeah.
that nobody sees that time. So I think you are absolutely right. If you have an idea, just go with it and expect it to be like the worst. But you are experimenting, you are learning, and without this learning journey, how will you ever get to know what real success is? We cannot skip that part. And we shouldn't want to skip that part. That is the beautiful part. That's the part we're gonna be like, oh my God, remember when I sucked so bad? Like that transfer into like this amazing business. So that is such a wonderful advice, Paulina. And I know you're probably going to create even more businesses after Creative Books. Like I'm
Yeah,
going to follow
I'm
your journey
planning to.
every few years, another. And that's the beauty of it. Do you feel like what motivates you? My last question. I know I want to talk to you for like 7 days straight, but what motivates you? Because I know it's not money for you. I mean, you make enough to be comfortable. What is it that inspires you, motivates you?
That's the thing. Like, if you would sell your Amazon business and like cash out right now, and you think that's all I want in life, just this like seven-figure check or whatever. And you know what happened to me? I was like happy for 3 weeks, maybe. I paid off the mortgage on the house and bought this nice house on the waterfront. And
Yeah,
then what? Like, then
yeah,
what?
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like, what's the purpose of my life? What should I do with it? Like, is it gonna be the next big thing, or am I like done? Like, what is this? Like, am I gonna be my mom, or I'm gonna like? It's a complete loss of balance. It's like you
Mm,
have to rediscover yourself, and it's actually what I was enjoying is the process of getting there. So what motivates me
Mm,
is the process, is actually not that goal of cashing out. Like right now, my goal is, to sell in 5 years for $4 million. That's my goal, right? So I
mm,
reverse engineer it. Okay, 4 million means I will need 3,000 paid customers. That means I need 70 new free trial signups a day. That means I will need 100 new articles written, and I'm working on these articles now. So
yeah.
it's like I'm motivated by just that step by step progress. Like every
Mm,
week when I look at my calendar, I'm just like motivated the last week what I already accomplished more
mm.
than I would have if I wouldn't have planned it out. So I don't know, just like super excited about the process. And if you are one of us, you're the one watching. If you're one of
Mhm.
us, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like you wouldn't want to be anywhere else except
Mm.
like doing the thing that you want to do, just being an entrepreneur online. That's like the best thing ever, and it's just like motivating in itself. So it's not the final number, it's just day by day enjoying the little challenges.
I love that. I think a lot of us are going to get to that point one day, and like, you know what, Paulina was right. Like, okay, now I sold it. Now what? Because everybody thinks like, oh my God, they can't wait for the day where they're just gonna sell their business and sip on Mai Tais on a beach somewhere, and then it's like 3 days in, you're like, okay, what's next?
What's
So
next?
because that's the entrepreneur spirit, and I love that you brought that up. I know when you're in the middle of things and it's yucky and it's gross and you're like, you know what, I cannot wait to be done with all of this. And then you're done, you're like, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that.
So
Well,
yeah,
Paulina, you are so wonderful. Your energy is like amazing, and you're a brilliant, successful entrepreneur that I am happy to call my friend. So thank you for being here with us. How do people find you? CreatorBooks.com when time comes. Are there any other channels? Maybe your YouTube? How do people find it?
so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way. Paulina Masson, you'll just find me there. I'm the first result. And there's not many Paulina Massons in the world.
I was gonna say your SEO is on point.
So
That's
yeah, and
amazing.
feel free to ask me any questions, or like we can connect and chat about entrepreneurship. I'm always up for building my personal network. So I don't really want to sell anything to you. I just really looking to make friends who are other entrepreneurs. And yeah, it eventually pays off. I know that from experience, that when you make a lot of good connections and you just being friend and you don't expect anything, good things get back to you eventually. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we all need more friends, especially in this ecosystem. It's like we really understand each other. Like I have friends that are not into Amazon and they don't understand. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you dealing drugs? Like, what is it that you're doing? Like, we don't understand. And I tell them I'm a consultant. I don't consult, but I'm like, that's a term that most people understand. So yeah, we need more friends. So I'm glad to call you my
Yeah,
friend, and thank you, Paulina,
glad to be.
again. I can't thank you enough. I want to have you back on in a year and two and three. And I know you're not going to take 5 years to sell creator books. I think you're just giving yourself too much time. I think it's going to be more like two or
No,
three.
no.
However, if we're still doing this, then I would love to have you back, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Bye bye, Paulina.